with us, we have Conrad De La Torre. Hello, Conrad.
Hello, Mike. Hello, everyone.
Today, we're going to be talking about the frost that we experienced and kind of what we know, what we don't know. And I think Conrad, he's here because he travels the Central Valley, I think, more than a lot of people, and he's frequently up and down the valley. I think just this week, Conrad, you've been from Chico to Bakersfield.
I have.
Right, so I think that you're always walking in people's fields and things like that. So I thought it would be great to have you on and kind of get your perspective. So maybe we could start you off with, let's start with the north. I think that's what everybody's kind of been talking about. That's where you hear anything from complete wipeouts to 50% damage on the trees. And just for people's kind of understanding what I mean by the north, or what the almond board deems as the north, quickly it is Butte, Colusa, Glen, Solano, Sutter, Tehama, Yolo, and Yuba.
Right.
And for the 21 crop, they accounted for about 14% of the total supply. Okay. So could you just quickly kind of tell us what you've seen?
Well, I took a couple of trips up there, and also talking to clients, all throughout the north. I've heard, from certain growers saying they're a complete wipeout,
right?
50% damage.
Yeah.
And of course, it's hard to figure because I was up there, as a matter of fact, 2 days ago, and looking at some stuff and talking to the growers themselves, and the crop doesn't look very good. It doesn't. There is some damage.
Yep.
How much? It's going to be difficult to say.
Yep.
But there is definitely quite a bit of damage in the north. And here again, I'm sure there's going to be some fields. I did look at a field in Yuba City that the nonpareil basically was not even there. There was no crop at all.
And are you seeing, like, when you walk into a field right now and you're saying, okay, there's no crop here, is that like the flowers or the I guess it would be the flowers that are on the ground, and you don't see anything in the tree that's actually starting to push a kernel?
Right. No, you're looking at the tree. And then, of course, you look on the ground and the flowers are on the ground. But if you look at the tree, you usually see quite a bit of nuts on there. And there's, one here every 2-3 feet.
So the tree looks pretty green.
Very green.
It doesn't, yeah.
You can usually tell. If you drive by a field, and my experience over the years has been that when you see an orchard that's really yellow, then you know where the energy is going to the nutlets. And usually that's kind of the way I look at it, of course, if it's not alkali, right? But in these fields that I walked in Yuba City, it was really obvious. Some of the pollinators were better, but the nonpareil was very affected in that particular field. And that's what I see everywhere. Nonpareil is a little, probably hit the hardest, but pollinators are going to be a little better.
Kind of seems like that's what we hear almost every year, right?
Every year, yeah.
The nonpareil doesn't look good. Not going to have a good nonpareil crop.
Right, and it seems to be affected more, but yeah, it's mainly in the north. And checking out our twice, I drove down through there, got off in quite a few orchards, and looking at that, and there is damage. There is quite a bit of damage. I'm sure there's other fields that are affected more, but overall, that's where I see the most damage. Now, I did look at some fields that look good, so it just depends on
where you are.
You know. So it's going to be very difficult to tell. And I think still we're 2 or 3 weeks away from really evaluating that.
And I was going to ask you, if you had to put a, if they produced 400 million pounds in the north last year, what would you tell me they would be down? Or would you say, Mike, it's too soon for me to give you something?
It is really too soon. Okay. We can guess all day, right?
Yeah,
you
just
sit here and say, okay, 50% damage, 60% damage.
Yeah.
It's really hard to tell. You are going to find some obvious fields that have significant damage, and then there's some that are not. So he's kind of, and it's almost impossible to walk every field and give it a really good evaluation, because
and you got to walk the entire field, right? Not just check that outside tree. Exactly. Right? You got to be able to go inside the field.
Exactly. And in talking to clients in that area, the feeling is we got hit. We still have a small crop, but we got hit significantly. And then there's guys that say not very much, 20%.
Yeah.
So like I said, it just depends on where you're at. They did bloom a lot earlier than we did.
Yeah.
So they're obviously more susceptible to frost because they were out of the jackets already. I think in one of the meetings that I went to, they were 50% bloom, 60% bloom, and we were just barely getting into pink bud.
I remember
It was
that.
really significant. I've never seen that before in a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
All right. Can we move to the central part of the state?
Absolutely.
So the central part of the state is Merced, San Joaquin County, and Stanislaus County. Last year, for the 21 crop, they accounted for 30% of the crop, just about 880 million pounds. You have an orchard of your own in Merced.
I do.
Can you just kind of give us a little bit of take on that?
Yeah. I think as you move into the Center Valley, it's hit and miss, right? There's not as much damage, but there is some hot spots. I didn't see any of mine. Of course, I'm in kind of a high area anyway, running water all the time, and it was fine. Down there is some low spots where historically, anytime there's any frost, you're going to have some problems, but it's not very large. You're going to have some hit and miss. And I think a lot of it also has to do with water. A lot of these orchards that were pretty dry, I think the frost affected it more than having water on it.
So somebody who maybe had not pre-irrigated or wasn't irrigating during the frost.
Right. Well, irrigating during the frost really doesn't give you a whole lot unless you have impact sprinklers, right? That's the only way. And in today's world, we don't have that kind of system anymore. We have micros or we have drip. And if you want those to work, you got to be watering a week before and really get that ground saturated. They even help you with a little bit. And micros are probably the best, if anything, But I think the overall state of the hydrated tree, having the moisture there, I think it gives it a little more protection against the frost.
Yeah, so really it was about pre-irrigating.
Absolutely.
Right.
And a lot of growers in that area did not have water because, MID was not, had any water in the canals.
Deliveries then.
No deliveries.
So really there's no moisture in the soil for the tree to be drawing from as it's starting to push into bloom.
Yes.
So it's kind of just burning off of reserves maybe or something like that.
Well, and then the ground just makes it colder. Everything's colder.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So, in the old days, I remember myself on a block that there was 240 side by side. One guy irrigated, the other guy didn't. And he pre-irrigated and flooded, like a week before the frost hit.
Yeah.
And that was a really severe frost, back about, 25, 30 years ago. And the guy that had pre-irrigated didn't have as much damage. The other guy, he just totally got wiped out.
Yeah.
So, that it makes a difference. If you know you're getting into some cold weathers, you want to prepare yourself for
a week ahead of time or so.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. Get the water in the ground.
Running water that day is not going to help you at all.
Yeah.
If you have sprinklers, maybe, but drip.
Not going to do anything.
No.
So then maybe Stanislaus County, the largest county in the central part of the state. They produced 410 million pounds in the 21 crop. It kind of sounds like, from what I've heard a little bit, it's that eastern part of Stanislaus County that might have gotten a little bit of damage more than maybe the stuff kind of down kind of out of the foothills. Have you been that way?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
And it is true. In the east side, there is a lot more damage, and there's some cold spots, right? There's always little cold spots. So, there is some damage out there. Here again, give us about another 3 weeks. We'll be able to tell you.
Common theme.
Absolutely.
A little early
to tell.
And a little bit more inconsistent in the central part of the state compared to the north.
Absolutely.
Okay. Can we move on to the south?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so the south is Fresno, Kern, Kings, Madera, and Tulare County. For the 21 crop, it was 56% of the total supply, or of the crop's production. Maybe we could start with our home county, Madera, kind of with what you've seen so far.
Here in Madera, I don't think we got hit as hard. There is some cold spots that obviously always get a little colder. So, say if in my area it was about 29 degrees, there is some cold spots that got down to 25. You know, but here again it's spotty. And a I mean, I had some damage on some of my stuff. I mean, right at the edge of the orchard, you walk in and it wasn't there.
Yeah.
You know,
So
but
if you're checking just the edges, you think, wow, I got, I've been
it's
hit
a
pretty hard.
disaster.
Yeah, I've been hit pretty hard.
But we know how it works. And I mean, yeah, and at first I really got excited about it because I said, wow, there's quite a bit of damage. And then you walk in and you just don't find it anymore. You know, so we have to be real. You know, so I think going forward, there is some cold spots. There is some little areas here and there, but I don't think it's significant here for us.
So Fresno County, the next largest or the largest county in the South, 600 million pounds. I mean, you kind of started hearing I think I've been hearing some rumors of, maybe some of that west side stuff out there, and the west side got a little bit of damage, but nothing consistent, right? Again, the most consistent thing we've heard is the north, followed probably by the central part of the state, but Fresno County,
Fresno County, I think the further you move, south, it's less.
Yeah.
Like you said, in the west side, I have talked to some growers there that they got affected, but the numbers are very small. I mean, it's not that big in the scheme of things. So I did talk to one grower that had some independence. He got down to about 25, but he's in a low spot for some reason, and he said he had a lot of damage. But here again, you look at the neighbors and everybody else okay.
Is the independence more? I know in the nursery you would say, hey, that independence is kind of more susceptible to temperature fluctuations, right? You want to deliver it faster to people because it starts pushing sooner.
Well, yeah, for the nursery, from the nursery side of it, we always promote our growers to plant independence quick because it is a low chill variety. It wants to grow in the nursery quickly. So either we go to cold storage with it early or encourage the growers to plant it early.
So the same thing, I'm assuming, and I don't know, but would the same thing apply to in the field, right? So it's going to bloom early?
No, the bloom time is about same as everything else.
Okay.
But it is, I believe it is, and it has been more vulnerable to frost in the past. If any variety got affected either with blast or frost or anything, it's always been independence. There's something about it that gets hit, but independence is a very fruitful variety. I mean, it puts on a lot of bloom. So if you lose a few, you still have enough.
Yeah.
So but it is most definitely probably the most susceptible to frost that I've seen.
Yeah. And so then, Kings County, it's not really the largest county. It's 74.5 million pounds in the 21 crop. But we have a few growers down in Kings County, and I know Jerry was down there this week and sending pictures with stuff that did look like he was inside the orchard, and it was really kind of hard to see any sort of nutlets forming or even anything sticking in the tree.
Right.
I don't know if you've been down to Kings County at all.
I haven't spent too much time there. I have talked to some growers about it, and of course talking to Jerry, and here again, I think it's hit and miss again.
Localized.
Some spots that, depending on the state of that orchard, and you get into that area, and you can get pretty cold. There is some areas you can get cold. So here again, give it time. So
really, at the end, we'll kind of wrap it up with. It's a little early still, so we have a lot of buyers asking, "What's it doing? What's happened?" So I think the message is it's early. We can't really tell you anything concrete quite yet. The first estimate really is going to be coming out in April. That'll be Terra Nova's estimate.
Right.
So kind of look out to see what they're going to kind of give you a spin on that. And also that we kind of feel today it's predominantly situated in the north and then very inconsistent as you move south.
True.
Okay.
True. Very
All
true.
right. Well, is there anything else you want to add to this?
No. Going through some hard times right now, so
everybody is.
Yeah. So, price increases, and of course the prices of almonds. We can get them to increase another $1 a pound. That'd be great.
That would be great,
wouldn't it?
Yeah. I think it's we keep talking about it, and there's a lot of volatility
Absolutely.
in input costs. It's also been a lot of volatility on the pricing this year.
Yes.
And I don't think that this frost event helps. Okay, I do think it kind of continues to put question marks out there. It makes growers feel, there's no real consensus.
Right.
Right. And sometimes the consensus is wrong. But it kind of makes it fractured. So I think it kind of lends itself to additional volatility to come.
We have a lot of
Unfortunately.
obstacles to overcome, right?
No
There's
doubt.
A lot of things affecting it from all sides, and hopefully this will get better. We need it to get better.
You're talking from a grower's perspective.
From a grower's perspective,
Hey,
yes.
pricing is at a level that is break even or generating losses for
Right.
people. So that's what you're saying.
Yes.
And we were talking about it yesterday, and there's insurance policies out here are $2.35 for
Right.
growers. Okay.
Right.
And maybe some guys were hoping and praying that if they get hurt bad enough to where they can claim insurance.
Right.
And there may be a break-even point where you just barely make enough production that you don't get the insurance, and you have to go out there and sell your crop, and it's worse for you.
Well, sure.
You
sure.
know?
Yeah. But it's good to have it, right? It's good there. You got a nice backup, and it's well worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you feel better that you're not at 100% loss.
You can sleep well on that.
Yes.
Okay, well, if there's not anything else, definitely
No.
appreciate your time. Thank you, Conrad.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.